Despite what you may have thought, it looks like you can still make money from beyond the grave. According to Forbes, which just released its annual list of the highest paid dead celebrities, some of the biggest household names in history are continuing to rake in the paychecks at an eye-watering rate. In fact, according to this year's list, the top earning stars have amassed a record-breaking $1.6 billion, which is a 72% increase over last year. So let's see who's topped the list this year. I'm your host, Schulz, and here are the top 10 celebrities who made billions from the grave in 2022. Number 10, Charles Schulz. American cartoonist and the creator of the comic strip Peanuts made $24 million this year according to Forbes. On February the 12th in 2000, Charles died in his sleep of a heart attack at his home in California at the age of 77. The last original Peanuts strip was published the following day. Sadly, he had accurately predicted that the strip would outlive him because the strips were usually drawn weeks before their publication. Charles received the National Cartoonist Society's Humor Comic Strip Award in 1962 for Peanuts. He was also the first two-time winner of the Reuben Award and received the Milton Caniff Lifetime Achievement Award in 1999. The Peanuts creator is consistently one of the highest earning dead celebrities. In a typical year, his heirs have been known to earn more in royalties than the heirs of John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, and Elizabeth Taylor combined. And if that's not crazy enough, he's believed to have earned over $1 billion during his career. Number 9, Jeff Porcaro. The drummer from the 80s rock outfit Toto made $25 million this year. Porcaro died at Humana Hospital West Hills on the evening of August 5th in 1992 at the age of 38 years old after he fell ill while spraying insecticide in the yard of his Hidden Hills home. The coroner ruled out an accident though and determined that it was actually the result of a heart attack due to the occlusive coronary artery disease. Unfortunately, Porcaro doesn't get nearly the same name recognition as other celebrities who've passed away, but fans of the drummer, songwriter, and record producer know that he's one of the most recorded session musicians in history and has worked on hundreds of albums across thousands of sessions. Not only did he co-write the platinum certified song Africa, but he was the go-to studio drummer for Quincy Jones and even worked on the best-selling album of all time, Michael Jackson's Thriller. He also collaborated with Steely Dan, Eric Clapton, Paul McCartney, and Bruce Springsteen. Eventually, his publishing and recording royalties were snapped up by Primary Wave. Number 8, Dr. Seuss. The author was the 8th on the list and made $32 million this year. Theodore Seuss Geisel died at the age of 97 in 1991 at his home following an illness of several months, but his nonsensical rhymes and fantastical creatures continue to enchant generations of children to this day. The author has won Oscars, Emmys, and a Pulitzer Prize in 1984. He's written and illustrated 47 books, selling more than 100 million copies in 18 languages, including classics like The Cat in the Hat and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In the nearly 30 years that have passed since his death, it's obvious that no one will ever be like Dr. Seuss, and the proof is in how popular his work has remained even though he's no longer living. His impact is still felt by children and adults everywhere, and there's no doubt that that'll ever change even as the years continue to pass. In fact, since last November, his book sales have generated over $16 million, alongside a Netflix deal and merchandising. Number 7, Leonard Cohen. According to Forbes, he's made $55 million in 2022. The legendary singer passed away at the age of 82 on November the 10th in 2016. He was said to have died during his sleep following a fall in the middle of the night. Although the poet and songwriter had been open about failing health in the previous months, fans knew little other than the fact that he had been battling cancer. Cohen's publishing and masters were bought by Hipgnosis, a publicly traded music management firm run by Mercuratis, who has also managed acts ranging from Beyonce and Elton John to Guns N' Roses. Cohen had a net worth of around $10 million at the time of his passing. According to the Forbes list of the top 12 earners that have raked in revenue from beyond the grave, the singer placed towards the middle of the pack. So clearly people are still turning to his calming and poetic music more than ever, most likely because it does explore timeless themes of things like depression and isolation. Number 6, Michael Jackson. The star's estate has made $75 million this year. Always in the spotlight, Michael's electric career captivated audiences and garnered fanatically loyal fans across the globe. Following his death at the age of 50, the news of his passing dominated the media for months. On the 25th of June in 2009, Michael died of a cardiac arrest as a result of a deadly cocktail of sedatives and anesthetic, which was administered by his physician Conrad Murray. Upon his death, Michael's net worth was estimated to be around $500 million, and his estate has made more than $2 billion after his death. Besides having a big name, the king of pop made most of his fortune through his albums. But it is said that due to his lavish lifestyle, somewhere along the way he lost most of it and was in debt. Now, with the pandemic restrictions lifted, the Jackson-themed Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas is back in action and raking in money alongside the MJ Day the Musical on Broadway, which was a jukebox retelling of his story. According to the Jackson estate, that broke box office records and grossed almost $80 million. Coming in at number 5, James Brown. The American singer, songwriter, arranger, and dancer made $100 million this year. He passed away on December the 25th in 2006 at the age of 73 due to heart failure. Brown was one of the most important and influential entertainers in the 20th century popular music, whose remarkable achievements earned him the title the hardest working man in show business. During the 1960s, Brown was known as the Soul Brother #1. His hit recordings of that decade have often been associated with the emergence of black artists and black nationalist movements. Brown was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986, received a Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement in 1992, and was a 2003 recipient of a Kennedy Center honor. Primary Wave, which is a New York-based independent music publisher, bought his music rights, real estate, and name and likeness. And now his estate will reportedly use some of the proceeds to fund academic scholarships, specifically for needy children in perpetuity. Number 4, Elvis Presley. His estate has brought in $100 million this year alone. Following a successful career and being a household name, the star has made his fortune from his music career and constantly performing. Elvis is thought to have had around $5 million at the time of his death, which nowadays would be estimated to be around $20 million. Despite still having millions in the bank, it's thought that this amount was significant. Despite having millions in the bank though, it's thought that this amount was significantly less than what he earned throughout his career. His biggest expense was the purchase and maintenance of his Graceland mansion in Memphis, but that continues to earn millions of dollars as a historic tourist site from the public every year. In fact, at least $80 million of Presley's earnings come from tour tickets, shows, and merch, according to sources close to the estate, which also rakes in $1 million just from licensing fees. Even though the estate didn't make a ton directly off the new Elvis biopic, the hit film is expected to lift Presley's earnings for at least the next 18 months. In fact, the movie did so well at the box office that even the sales of Disney's Stitch plush animals dressed as Elvis are up from last year. Coming in at number 3, David Bowie. The legendary singer and performer made $250 million in 2022. He tragically passed on January the 10th in 2016, just days after turning 69. According to a documentary marking the anniversary of Bowie's death, it was said that he only discovered his cancer was terminal 3 months before he died, having kept his illness a secret from the world. He was worth an estimated $100 million at the time of his passing, and left the bulk of his estate to his wife Iman, and his 2 children Duncan and Alexandria. The musician was also very generous with his other loved ones. We know that his personal assistant Coco was given $2 million, and the former nanny for his children, Marion Skinny, was left with $1 million. But interestingly enough, the sale of David Bowie's publishing catalog and masters to Warner Chappell in January generated a shocking amount of income after his death. We're talking around $250 million. Number 2, Kobe Bryant. The NBA star made $400 million this year. He died on January the 26th in 2020 at the age of 41. He tragically perished in a helicopter crash along with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna and 7 other passengers. Bryant had retired from basketball in 2016 as the NBA's 3rd all-time leading scorer and had won 5 NBA titles during his 20-year career. His net worth at the time of his passing was an estimated $600 million, which was both from his salary and endorsements during his career. All in all, it was a record amount for a team athlete. In 2016, he and entrepreneur Jeff Steibel set up a $100 million VC fund called Bryant Steibel to invest in technology, media, and data companies. Bryant also had a 7% stake in Body Armor energy drink, and in 2021, Coca-Cola agreed to buy out the 70% of Body Armor it didn't already own for $5.6 billion at an $8 billion valuation. As a result, his estate received $400 million in proceeds from that sale. And coming in at number 1, J.R.R. Tolkien. He's at first place according to Forbes and has made $500 million this year. The English writer died on the 2nd of September in 1973 from a bleeding ulcer and chest infection at the age of 81. Tolkien left behind an incredible legacy with his books, as the Lord of the Rings trilogy cast a spell over tens of thousands of Americans in the 1960s, which in essence was all about a fantasy of the war between ultimate good and ultimate evil. At the time of his death, he had a net worth equal to around $50 million. In the decades since, his works have generated tens of billions of dollars in revenue from movie tickets, DVDs, merchandise, and more. Not to mention the fact that the Swedish video game company Embracer bought Middle-earth Enterprises in August. Now, they didn't disclose the deal price, instead they admitted to spending $788 million on 6 different acquisitions, but it later came out that they spent at least $500 million for the purchase. Well, that's everything that we have on the list for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.